the legacy, and the burden. Before anyone knew his name, John David Washington was living under a shadow, a legacy both inspiring and daunting. Born to two Hollywood figures, Denzel Washington and Pauletta Washington, he carried expectations most people could not imagine. From a young age, he was acutely aware of the spotlight his family had inherited, and the pressure to measure up was immense. This weight could have crushed him, but instead, it shaped him. He didn't want to succeed because of his last name. He wanted to prove his worth through his own effort. While many assumed doors would open easily for him, the reality was harsher. He had to earn respect, not inherit it. The world didn't need another actor born into privilege. It needed someone capable of transforming legacy into substance. And that was the challenge he accepted. Finding his path for years, John David Washington wasn't on a clear path to Hollywood fame. Instead, he pursued professional football, driven by competition, discipline, and a desire to define himself outside the shadow of his father. On the field, he learned lessons that would later translate to the craft of acting, timing, patience, strategy, and endurance. Football demanded physical rigor, mental toughness, and the ability to perform under pressure. Yet even as he excelled in sports, a question lingered. Who was he beyond the game? When injuries and career crossroads forced a pivot, he had to confront uncertainty and redefine his purpose. It was in these moments, filled with doubt and challenge, that the seeds of resilience were sown. Resilience would later become his signature strength, both on and off the screen. Transitioning to the screen. The transition from athlete to actor was neither instant nor effortless. John David faced skepticism, not only from the industry but internally, questioning whether he could truly step into roles that demanded vulnerability and intensity. Acting was a new kind of endurance, emotional and psychological rather than purely physical. He started with small roles, appearing in independent films, testing his limits, learning the nuances of timing, expression, and presence. Early setbacks were lessons in humility, perseverance, and adaptability. Every rejection was a reminder that talent alone is not enough. He had to immerse himself in craft, understand human emotion at a granular level, and commit to becoming more than a familiar name. He had to earn authenticity, building the body and mind. John David understood early that transformation was holistic. To perform at the highest level, he needed control over both body and mind. He adopted rigorous physical training routines, incorporating strength, agility, and endurance to embody characters that demanded more than acting. They demanded athleticism. Simultaneously, he cultivated mental resilience. Meditation, discipline, and constant self-reflection became part of his regimen. He studied past performances, sought mentorship, and exposed himself to discomfort to expand his emotional range. In this way, every physical rep, every moment of fatigue became more than preparation. It was a rehearsal for life under scrutiny. When he stepped on set, he was physically prepared and mentally unshakable, able to embody any challenge with presence and authority. Breakthrough and recognition. His breakthrough arrived with roles that demanded intensity and nuance. BlackaKklansman was the turning point where John David Washington proved that he could carry complex narratives with depth, charisma, and conviction. His performance was layered, combining courage, charm, and moral complexity. Critics and audiences alike recognized not just his skill, but the authenticity of his portrayal. Unlike many who succeed quickly, his triumph was cumulative, built upon years of preparation, risk, and rejection. He understood the responsibility of the role, not just to the story, but to the people and themes he represented. Success didn't arrive as entitlement, it arrived as earned credibility, validated by commitment and craft. The principles he lives by. John David Washington's approach to life and work is rooted in a few unshakable principles. First, preparation is everything. No performance is spontaneous. Excellence is deliberate. Second, resilience over comfort. He actively seeks challenges to sharpen his abilities. Third, authenticity over approval. While recognition is rewarding, it never dictates his choices. Fourth, discipline breeds freedom. Structure and training, study, and personal growth allows him to perform at peak potential under any conditions. Fifth, presence is power. On set and in life, commanding attention without arrogance is a result of awareness, focus, and emotional control. These principles guide every decision, defining his journey as much as any role he plays. Embracing the work. What sets John David apart is his obsession with the process. He doesn't treat acting as a job. He treats it as an ongoing, immersive challenge that requires courage, consistency, and sacrifice. Long hours on set, repeated takes, emotional vulnerability. He leans into every difficulty rather than avoiding it. Physical strain, public scrutiny, and self-doubt are treated as tools to grow stronger, not as obstacles to avoid. He embraces failure as feedback and discomfort as opportunity. In doing so, he transforms every scene, every rehearsal, and every audition into an exercise in excellence. His life demonstrates that mastery is not a destination, but a daily commitment to endure and evolve. Legacy and inspiration. Unlike many rising stars, John David Washington understands that legacy is earned, not inherited. He doesn't rest on his family name. He actively builds his own. Through disciplined preparation, courage under pressure, and emotional authenticity, he has become a role model for perseverance and integrity. His journey reminds us that talent is only part of the equation. The other part is effort, resilience, and the refusal to settle for mediocrity. He represents a generation unafraid to challenge expectations while honoring the lessons of the past. In a world that often rewards speed and image over depth and substance, his story is a masterclass in patient, disciplined growth. The message behind the journey, John David's story, is not about fame. It's about becoming the person capable of handling fame, pressure, and responsibility. It's about choosing effort over comfort and courage over fear. It proves that transformation is not accidental. It is intentional. He demonstrates that setbacks are not failures, but data points, and that discipline, resilience, and preparation are the ultimate equalizers. Every performance, every decision, every challenge faced head-on is a reminder that greatness is forged quietly, away from applause, in the relentless pursuit of becoming better than yesterday. Final word. You don't need a legacy to define you. You don't need validation to justify your effort. You need commitment, courage, and the willingness to embrace discomfort. John David Washington's journey proves one truth. The world doesn't reward potential. Yeah, it rewards execution. It doesn't respect intentions. It honors results. If you are willing to endure, to study, to sacrifice, to show up when no one is watching, you can become more than circumstances allow. You can become undeniable. And in the end, it's not about the name you inherit or the spotlight you step into. It's about the work you put in day after day until you own your presence.